Good morning. Sorry about that. I'd like to call to order the return board meeting of Monday, November 14th, 2020. The return board of the November 3rd, 2020 general and special election having reconvened on this day of November 14th, 2020, shall continue with the business of the canvass and computation. We will now move to public comment. Commenters shall state where they live, or if they are not a resident of Philadelphia, that they are a Philadelphia taxpayer. Public comment is not an opportunity for dialogue or Q&A. It is public comment, a chance for you to tell us what you think. Each speaker shall have 2 minutes. However, I may extend this time at my discretion. All public comments must be relevant or germane to board business. Finally, it is my responsibility to preserve the order and decorum of the meetings. As such, profane, slanderous, discriminatory, or personal attacks will not be tolerated. Anyone wishing to offer public comment, please step forward. Hearing none. Nope, never mind. Hello. Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Leslie Greenlee. Okay, my vote has not been counted for the presidential election, and I have voted since 1988 in the same division in Philadelphia, and I voted since 2001 in the same house. I have a lot of middle names. Leslie, Marcia, Lincoln, Killian, Greenlee is my full name, and I have some documents here to show you. Some proof of evidence.
Mrs. Greenlee, how did you vote in this election?
By ballot, by mail.
Were you contacted by our office?
Yes, I was. And I filled out a form and actually brought it physically into the commissioner's office, and then it still wasn't counted.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Can you please show your identification to our compliance specialist, Garret Dietz? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Greenlee? Are you here this morning for the purpose of asking if your vote will count?
Yes.
Should you desire your vote to be counted?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more public comment? Please approach. State your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Henry Massaro. It has been a pleasurable experience for the last week to have tens of thousands of people in this city, in this state, in this nation, in this world, to thank this commission, all three commissioners, for having a fair, full, honest, accurate, honest count on election day. That's a wonderful thing to have been said because it's bipartisan. But when I thought about it, that is 99.7% insufficient to thank you for election day. I'd like to thank each of you for the approximate 215 days, nights, where you worked to have a fair, honest, accurate, transparent election. So all of us in our city, our state, our nation, and our world would really like to thank you for about 215 days before the election. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Hearing none, we will now hear a report from Deputy Seth Bluestein on provisional ballot challenges.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Earlier this week, the staff canvassed the provisional ballots cast in the general election and received challenges to a number of provisional ballots. These challenges fall into 10 categories that I will present to the Commissioners for a vote. The first category are absentee and mail-in ballots that were counted or voted in person.
If anyone representing those who vote the challenge would like to make agreement, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to speak on that category of ballot challenge, hearing none. Proceed. Can you repeat the category?
Voters who cast a provisional ballot who also cast an absentee or mail-in ballot that counted or voted in person.
I vote no count.
I vote against count.
I vote no count.
Those will not be counted.
The second category was a blanket challenge against provisional ballots cast by a voter whose absentee or mail-in ballot was canceled in advance of the general election.
If anyone representing those who vote the challenge would like to make agreement, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to also speak, please state your name for the record.
Adam Bonin, B-O-N-I-N, on behalf of the Democratic Party and its candidates. It's my understanding that this is a category which represents individuals who were directed by the city commissioners based on guidance from the Department of State to notify voters whose envelopes received had certain deficiencies that were canceled, and that these are voters who were directed to cast provisional ballots in order to ensure that their vote be counted. If in fact, these are voters who fall within this category, this is what the provisional ballot exists for, and it is our fervent hope that these ballots be counted.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, I vote that these ballots be counted.
I vote to count.
I vote to count.
Proceed. These votes will be counted.
The third category are provisional ballots cast by voters whose absentee or mail-in ballots were not returned.
Anyone here representing those who vote the challenge that would like to make agreement, or if anyone representing a candidate argument, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to also speak? Hearing none, I vote to count these ballots.
I vote to count.
I vote to count.
These ballots will be counted. Proceed.
The fourth category are provisional ballots cast by voters who did not sign the affidavit.
Anyone representing those who brought the challenge would like to make argument, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to speak on behalf of these ballots?
Just very briefly, Commissioners, my only question as to this category, and I hope that the Commissioner Seth has reviewed this thoroughly, is whether these voters signed the envelopes in some other place other than on the on the line of the affidavit. If there's a signature anywhere on the outer envelope, if the voter may have been misdirected as to where to sign, we would hope that those ballots be counted. Obviously, there needs to be some signature somewhere, but I just want to make sure that the staff is thorough in determining that there was absolutely no signature as to these ballots.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Mr. Bluestein, was there a signature anywhere on these ballots?
Thank you, Commissioner. The ballots that were a part of Category 4 had no signature anywhere on the envelope.
Thank you. I vote to count these ballots, not to count these ballots.
I vote not to count.
I vote not to count.
These ballots will not be counted. Proceed.
Category 5 are provisional ballots cast by voters who did not fully complete the affidavit, or the information on the affidavit was inconsistent with their record in the SOAR system.
Anyone representing those who brought the challenge would like to make an argument, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to speak? Hearing none, I vote to count these ballots.
I vote to count.
I vote to count.
These ballots will be counted. Proceed.
Category 6 are provisional ballots cast by a voter whose affidavit is missing any poll worker signatures.
Anyone representing those who brought the challenge would like to make an argument, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to speak? Hearing none, I vote that these ballots be counted.
I vote to count.
I vote to count.
These ballots will be counted. Please proceed.
Category 7 are provisional ballots whose affidavits have no reason given for casting the provisional ballot.
Anyone representing those who brought the challenge would like to make an argument, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to speak? Hearing none, I vote to count these ballots.
I vote to count.
I vote to count.
These ballots will be counted. Please proceed.
Category 8 are provisional ballots that were cast by voters in the wrong ward or division.
Anyone representing those who brought the challenge would like to make an argument, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to speak?
Just very briefly, again, this is, for the record, this is Adam Bowman. It would be our position that voters who aren't registered to vote in the city of Philadelphia, but who happen to show up in an incorrect ward and division, that their votes should be counted as to those races for which they weren't properly registered to vote, and not counted for those local races where they may have showed up in the wrong place.
Thank you, Council. I vote to count these ballots.
I vote to count.
I vote to count.
These ballots will be counted. Please proceed.
The 9th category of the challenge that was brought is a provisional ballot envelope that has no barcode.
If anyone representing those who brought the challenge would like to make argument, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to speak? Hearing none, I vote to count these ballots.
I vote to count.
I vote to count.
Please proceed. These ballots will be counted. Please proceed.
And category 10 are provisional ballots who were challenged with no explanation, and the reason for challenge is unknown.
Anyone representing those who brought the challenge would like to make argument, or if anyone representing a candidate or party would like to speak? Hearing none, I vote to count these ballots.
I vote to count.
I vote to count.
These ballots will be counted.
Thank you, Commissioners. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Bluestein. We will now hear a report from our Supervisor of Elections, Garret Dietz.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Garret.
I have one category of ballots that I'm bringing before you today. It's specifically voters whose identification response was received timely but could not be verified due to technological issues with SURE. So to give a little context, part of the absentee or mail-in ballot application requires some sort of identification in the form of last four of your social security number or PA driver's license or PA identification card number. We had several thousand voters that unfortunately could not be verified at for this first check. We sent a letter out to all of these voters informing them that their identification could not be verified and to give them a further opportunity to rectify the situation. We have a few hundred voters who responded to the notice, but unfortunately, due to technological issues with SURE, we were unable to confirm or deny that the identification that they provided was sufficient.
Garrett, is the state aware of this issue?
Very much so. I've been in talks for weeks with various members of the Department of State, both their programming team and people next to, or people, higher up people in the Department of State itself.
Where do we get the proof of identification form from?
A template was provided by the Department of State well before this election. It was altered slightly for the usage for this county in particular.
Are any of these voters first-time voters?
Some are, but I would say the overwhelming majority are long-time voters.
Why would there be voters without either a social security number or driver's license number on their file? If they originally registered to vote before that was a requirement for registration. Is there anything special about these voters' records?
So, as you can imagine, it would be disproportionately elderly voters because they would tend to disproportionately be ones who had to register, who would have registered before the social or driver's license requirement was in effect.
Given what we know today about this issue, is there any chance that any of these voters will ever be able to vote without a fix to the system?
Short of being able to find a different source for the social or driver's license number of each voter and person and manually affixing it to their record. The only other opportunity that these voters would have to vote by ballot ever again would be if SURE fixes the issue.
Is Mrs. Greenlee one of these voters?
I believe so, yes.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Garrett, now that we have those additional identifying, information, do we update their file to ensure to reflect that so the problem doesn't persist since they've just provided it to us?
So we don't have any plan in place yet, but we can definitely look into it.
Thank you.
We definitely take that into consideration.
But how many files is it there?
So the group of voters I'm talking about in particular are a few hundred voters where they responded timely, but the identification verification could not be processed.
So, it is my belief that these voters did everything that we asked of them. They submitted their applications, they submitted their ballots, and when we send them a letter indicating that their ID was unverified, they returned the forms that we supplied for this purpose, or contacted our office as instruction. Clearly, something is wrong with the system that is preventing these voters from ever having their IDs properly verified and therefore their votes counted. It appears that their only option to prevent this in the future is to update their voter registration with a PennDOT number or a social security number. The ID verification process worked well for over 440,000 applications, but it appears to be putting these couple hundred voters' voices in this election in jeopardy. I am satisfied that they are legitimate votes, given all the communication our office has had back and forth with them. I vote that we count all of the ID verifieds that returned the proof of identification form to us or contacted our office with their identification information as instructed and are being prevented from being verified because they have neither a PennDOT number or a Social Security number in the registration file. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That concludes my business. Thank you, Commissioners.
One more thing, Garrett. On this topic, I would like to vote to count the ballot of Leslie Greenlee as she goes to return the proof of identification form to us timely and appear before us today to demonstrate that she is a legitimate voter.
I second.
Oh, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Greenlee. Thank you, Garrett. That concludes today's business. The return board shall now stand in recess until the call of the chair.